So
That comes in handy.
he kept me straight.
Yeah.
And they had a Jap radar. They said a Jap radar was up there and said it was in a minefield. Nobody had been to it.
Did you see it?
They told me if I could go if I wanted to. Well, I went.
Yeah.
And I remember we had some training in mines, and you had to look for strings
Yeah.
in places, and it must have taken me an hour or so to go a few feet.
Yeah.
I was very careful,
Yeah.
but I didn't run into any mines.
Yeah. But you
But
found.
I got to, but the infantry had been there.
Yeah.
You know, our infantry did a great job of that. They scoured the area, and anytime the enemy had anything, they had been there before I ever got there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had taken everything off of it that was any value. I looked at it, but it didn't look like it was very good. Nothing compared to what we had.
So we were more advanced.
Far more advanced. That was what, and I made that in my report.
Okay. Then you actually built one, built a radar station.
Oh, we built them in England, yes.
Yeah. But down south.
Oh, at Dobadura.
Yeah.
Oh, they shipped that in from England.
Okay.
All we do is just installed it.
Okay.
Oh, I had the air engineers installed it. I just supervised it.
Okay, that's good.
I didn't have, but I then calibrated it. I got the Army to run calibration planes for me.
Okay.
They would do that.
Yeah.
And then you would adjust your adjustments.
Yeah.
So you get calibration, you get on the right azimuth, the right range, and the right height, and you would set all of that while they run the calibration. The planes would fly calibration for you.
Okay. So that way you know it worked in action.
Then you know it worked.
Practice.
Then the crews, you have a signal battalion would come in and run it. Now they were schooled on how to run it.
Yeah.
They didn't know anything about fixing it.
Yeah.
But they knew how to run it. Signal battalion would come in and do that. We had that all lined up.
Okay. How long were you down there?
Oh, I was down there till I went all to the Philippines.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm getting ahead of the story. Go ahead. What you were telling me.
Oh, I mean, it's a long way. Am I running out of time?
No. Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, well, we did fine. And then when I got back to Port Moresby, I went back over to Dobadura and rechecked the calibration on that unit. And then I came back and reported into Colonel Harvey, who was the chief signal officer for 5th Fighting Command, was my immediate superior.
Yeah.
And he said, General Wirtsmith wants you to make another tour. Would you do that? And I said, no, fine.
Yeah.
So they sent me to a place called Wow.
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 Okay.
Wow's up in the mountains of New Guinea.
Yeah.
Above Ley, I was going back somewhat up in the hills above the area that I'd already been to.
Yeah.
I got a plane. You could fly into there, and the airstrip was on a 30-degree slope.
Really?
It was on the side of the mountain, and it's fly in real low and land uphill. It'd take off downhill. Anyway, this is a real interesting area. This place was near a place called Balola River was there.
Yeah.
The Balola River, they said 5,000 years ago, they had a volcanic eruption, and it blew gold out of the ground, up in the air, and it all had come down in the area, but gradually it had all washed into the Balola River. The Australians, the Balola Gold Mining Company of Sydney, Australia, had come in there years before,
Yeah.
and they put dredges in that Balola River.
Yeah.
And it was the most interesting thing. They had big chains, scoops that would go down into the
That
river
we use in our coal mines.
and dig the mud up.
Yeah.
And the mud would come up and they'd put it on what we call dicing tables, and they'd
Yeah.
sling the mud out of it.
Yeah.
Then they would run it through like a washer, and by specific gravity, get the mud off of it. The gold would drop to the bottom, the mud would rise to the top.
Yeah.
Then they would take it out to an oven, and they put it in, no, first they run it through mercury and make amalgam.
Okay.
And then they could really wash the mud off of the mud. The mud would separate then.
Yeah.
Then they put them in a big furnace and reclaim the mercury and make gold bricks. And they shipped those back to Sydney.
Yeah.
Well, when the Japanese came into that area, a battalion of Japanese came into that area, and the Australians blew the dredges up. They didn't work. But we could go out and look at them. Take a little boat and go out on the river to see them.
Yeah.
The Japanese, they killed the whole 1,000 of them.
Really?
The Australians did it. They were all down in a valley.
Yeah.
And you could go down and you could see the decaying bodies. I did. I went down there to look at them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the infantry had been through every one of their pockets. I'm sure there was nothing in there.
They checked everything out.
It was smelled very bad. I didn't go down in there and look other than just to see where it was.
Yeah.
I ran into something else that I hadn't run into the company. We had X teams there, Army X teams.
What is that?
They're infantry,
Yeah.
and they're nothing but commandos, if you want to know what they are.
Okay.
I got to be friendly with a few of these fellows, and
Yeah.
they said they were to go out and search where the Japs were and to eliminate their patrols.
To eliminate them.
And they said they did that.
Search and destroy.
Search and destroy, eliminate their patrols. And they were taking some of that, they were scraping that gold out of those dredges. I don't know what they were gonna do with it. I don't know how they ever get it home, but they were having fun doing that.
With these
You
X
could
tanks?
putty knife, and you could take amalgam out,
Yeah.
but I don't know what they could do with that. Anyway, they were going on an expedition, looking for Jap troops.
Yeah.
And they were going up in the mountain. They said, "You want to go along?" I said, "Yes, I'll go along, because it may be possible we could do something in radar up in the top of the hill. I don't know as far as long
Yeah,
range.
yeah.
I will go. How long are you going to be gone?"
Yeah.
2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
So I went with them. We got way up in the mountain, up, I wouldn't stand the range, 12,000 feet. It was cold up there. We got up there, we got into a native village, growing tomatoes, all the vegetables we grow around here. I got to meet some of the natives. I couldn't talk to them very well, but we finally found out that this village came into existence before World War I. German missionaries came into that area, and they had the natives carry the lumber to build the houses that we have here today up the top of these mountains. And they had a beautiful chapel and several nice houses built and a sort of an auditorium. All the hymn books were there. They were in German. They were Lutherans that came into there. When World War I ended, or started, all the missionaries had to leave.
Yeah.
So natives had this, and they had kept it. And something else that fascinated me, the missionaries had gone up into the mountains above the village, and they had dammed up spring water, and had carried bamboo up from the jungles, and they had piped the village with bamboo pipes.
Running
And
water.
every little native hut had running water in it.
Real primitive, huh?
And now that was very interesting.
That was interesting. It's good water?
Oh yeah, it was spring water.
Yeah.
Yes, I was a little careful about drinking water.
Did you put your pills in those?
I sure did. I didn't take any chance. I didn't want to get sick. That's bad. Worst thing to do, get sick out in the jungle like that.
No, that's true.
So I didn't do that. I was very careful. I didn't do that.
Well, did your X-teams find any Japanese?
What?
Did your X-teams find any Japanese?
Oh, not on this trip, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I guess I was ready to go. They'd given me, I had a machete, I had a couple of knives on my boots, and I had a carbine and a .45. I was in a couple of hand grenades. I guess I was picked up pretty good.
You were ready then.
I was ready. So anyway, we searched the area and did what they wanted to do, and there was nothing there suitable for radar.
Yeah.
I came on back with them and went on back to Puvateri, and then got back over to Oro Bay and got the boat back over to Cape Ward Hunt,
Yeah.
and got the boat back to Oro Bay, and then up to Dobadura, and then back. And then they wanted me to take all the radar and stuff that had been developed back to Washington. So I caught a B-17 out of, not B-17, B-24. I keep saying 17. We didn't have 17s.
Yeah.
B-24. I went on down to Brisbane, and they put me on a plane there, and we flew to always same route, back to New Caledonia, Fiji, Canton Island, Honolulu. We got to Honolulu. They said we were going to land on the east coast of California. They said we'd have to go to Sacramento, that the airstrip was closed. What was the name of the strip I was trying to think of? But anyway, it was closed, and we had to go to Sacramento. And they put 100-gallon wooden gasoline tanks in the cabin.
Wooden?
That's wooden. And we had 5 boys on the plane with us that had been commissioned in the field for valor, and they were going to West Point.
Oh, really?
They were sending them back to West Point. They'd been so fine soldiers.
Yeah.
And we had 2 or 3 other people on there beside me. There were 6 or 7 of us on this plane. And we took off from Honolulu, headed for California. And first thing we noticed, a little trickle coming down through the thing, was 100-octane gasoline.
Uh-oh.
We went up and called the pilot. He came back, and it looked like the blood just drained out of his face.
Yeah.
He said, "I don't know." He went back to the cabin real quick, and he came back with all these big rags.
Yeah.
He gave everybody rags. He said, "Soak that up," and said, "I've turned all 4 engines on that one tank, and we'll use it up just as quickly as we can. And I've turned off all the radios. Of course, I don't expect any of you to try to smoke.